Not yet learned your lesson?
This time, Fenlong, I came ready.
Ready to lose again?
Welcome to the relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this, our continued coverage of all this past weekend's action at MVPW04. Lyanna Cruz dropped Gutierrez 2 times in decision win. Despite no amateur boxing experience, Lyanna Cruz has done well for herself coming into the contest with an 11-0 record. Cruz is known for her speed, technical skill, and fight IQ while in the ring. Cruz last fought in June, defeating Regina Chavez, despite nearly getting stopped early in the bout in the previous year. Snapping back a lengthy stint of inactivity opposite the ring, 20-year-old Ruby Gutierrez, who Lyanna dominated. I want to say that Lyanna Cruz looked a little bit rusty in the first round, in the very first round. It wasn't really until the second that she settled in, coming forward, throwing combinations, targeting the body.
That was a chef's kiss.
Regularly going to Ruby Gutierrez's midsection, as we all know, you don't recover from those body shots as well as you do those head punches. Continued punishment to the body wears down a fighter in a way that they cannot recover. And in the fight you saw that as Lyanna Cruz is barreling forward, pressuring Ruby Gutierrez, she's mixing in body punches in her combinations, regularly going there, regularly backing up and backing off Ruby Gutierrez, who looked like a woman trying to hold back a storm. Lyanna Cruz seems to have wanted to send a message, make a statement in what was her MVP debut, dropping Ruby 2 times. Lyanna Cruz has a fiery personality outside of the ring, and inside of the ring, she's got a fiery style. She is an action fighter, and as stated, she has no amateur background, though you wouldn't know it to look at her, because in the ring, she looks all but a natural. Very comfortable in there, and knows what she's doing. Making a successful MVP debut, which is saying a lot, because not everybody's made one. So now that she's snapped back this lengthy stint of inactivity and successfully made her MVP debut, you would have thought that the focus would be on Jasmine Artiga, who is her MVP stablemate for a good number of months now. The former WBA champion. Former champion as of this weekend. Jasmine Artiga lost her WBA title to her mandatory challenger, Natalie Delgado, so I suppose that Lyanna will shift her focus from fighting Jasmine to fighting Natalie. The title, after all. That was what it was all about. Lyanna Cruz's issue with Jasmine Artiga was that in spite of Lyanna Cruz having been ranked ahead of Jasmine several spots, Jasmine got the WBA title shot ahead of her. So since then, she made it her mission to get her in the ring, where now it seems she won't have to, because Jasmine's not champion anymore. I guess she's gonna challenge Natalie now. And that will become the focus. Natalie Delgado has fast established herself as a somebody at this weight, one of 4 reigning champions at this weight. And I expect that MVP might move to do this fight between Lyanna Cruz and Natalie Delgado sometime in the fall or winter months. Will Lyanna Cruz have better luck against Natalie Delgado than Jasmine Artiga just did? I think so, because to me, Lyanna Cruz is a better boxer than Jasmine Artiga, by a lot, and she always has been. By all rights, Jasmine Artiga should not have been WBA champion, for more reasons than one. One being that the title shot should have never gone to her in the first place. It should have gone to Lyanna, but in spite of getting the title shot, she got a gift on top of that. When she actually fought for the vacant title against Regina Chavez in March of the previous year, I saw that fight. That was a pro box show, and
She lost that fight.
she should have lost that fight. But if my memory serves me, the contest took place in her native Florida, and she seems to have gotten a hometown decision. A gift. She should have never been champion. It's just being honest, and what took place this weekend against Natalie Delgado seems all but a byproduct of being in a position she should not have been in. A consequence. You're not good enough to be champion, even if you wrangled the situation to get the belt.
You are not worthy.
But I think that Lyanna Cruz is, and I think that if MVP makes the fight between her and Natalie, Lyanna Cruz wins the fight. Between her and Natalie. Here's looking forward to that and more from young Lyanna Cruz.
In men's featherweight news, Bruce Carrington's plan is to face Rafael Espinoza in a full unification match, coming off of his resounding 9th-round knockout of Carlos Castro this past January at MSG, adding another featherweight championship to the belt he won that night, appealed to the unbeaten Brooklyn native more than any other option. Carrington also wanted to remain as active as possible this year, once Carrington realized fights against fellow champions Rafael Espinoza, Brandon Figueroa, and Angelo Leo wouldn't materialize. He happily accepted an optional title defense against undefeated Rene Palacios on July 4th in Cleveland. Assuming Carrington gets past Palacios, though, he will refocus on securing a title unification clash before the end of this year.
He's going to be returning to action on the undercard of Abdullah Mason versus Joe Cordina, in a card that's being shared by both DAZN and TNT as a result of their partnership. Bruce Carrington,
17-0 with 10 KOs.
and Mexico's Espinoza, 28-0 with 24 KOs, are both promoted by Bob Arum's Top Rank Inc. Rather than matching them next, Carrington senses it's more likely he'll fight Figueroa or Leo, and Espinoza would battle the champion Carrington doesn't box to set up a full unification bout between the winners.
Seems an ideal scenario. Let the champions take care of each other, and then let the last two men standing square off.
If I'm being honest, it looks like the way we're planning it out is for me and Espinoza to meet at the end, Carrington told The Ring. That's what it looks like, for it to be a big crescendo, me and him having this dream fight. I think that's what they're trying to set up, so I'm totally not mad at that. Espinoza is the ring's #1 contender for an unclaimed championship. Angelo Leo is ranked 2nd, Carrington 3rd, and Figueroa 5th. Of the 4 featherweight champions, Carrington is the only one with a fight scheduled.
Angelo Leo did have a fight on schedule, a mandatory title fight against his mandatory Reece Aleem, but Reece Aleem had blown the weight by so much, the fight got called off.
Unless I'm mistaken, Angelo Leo is promoted by Pro Box.
Brandon Figueroa is promoted by the PBC. He hasn't been up to much since knocking out Nick Ball, and Rafael Espinoza, he's promoted by Top Rank, the same as Bruce.
Bruce aspires to unify titles with one of these guys.
He's thinking it might be Brandon Figueroa.
Figueroa, 27-2 with 1 draw and 20 knockouts of Velasco, Texas, upset Nick Ball by 12th round technical knockout to win the WBA title in February 7th in Ball's hometown of Liverpool, England. I feel like Figueroa is one of those guys who wants difficult fights, Carrington said, and I think I've seen some interest from Leo, who wouldn't mind getting in the ring with me as well, so I have hope. It's just about getting all the logistics right, money, and everything right at this point, because this is a business at the end of the day. So yeah, when the time comes for the fight to be made, I'm gonna do the best job possible to make it happen. DraftKings lists Carrington as a 9-1 favorite over Palacios, 19-0 with 1 draw and 10 knockouts.
You can't really get mad at Bruce specifically, that he hasn't had that kind of fight yet with one of the other champions at the weight, because most, if not all of them, have been waiting for Inoue to move up. In doing so, they've sort of stayed away from each other and unifying titles, all awaiting the same thing.
So you can't pigeonhole one guy for what they all might be doing, but at least he's pushing for unification matches. At least he's putting it out there, trying to. And I would give Bruce very good odds to beat Angelo Leo, in spite of Angelo being a 2-weight world champion and more experienced than Bruce. I don't think he's as talented as Bruce. I don't think he has as high a ceiling. I would say the same thing about Brandon.
That fish-eyed fucking freak.
Brandon's a 2-weight world champion too. In many ways, a lot more experienced than Bruce, but not more talented. I've never been impressed with Brandon Figueroa, so you could imagine my surprise when he goes to Liverpool and knocks out Nick Ball. That's not what I thought was going to happen.
It's not what the bookies thought was going to happen. Brandon was the betting underdog going in.
Though even with that upset win, being a 2-weight world champion and being more experienced than Bruce Carrington, I would actually still go with Bruce to beat Brandon. It's Rafael Espinoza.
That's the guy I can't pick nobody confidently to beat. Not at 126. Too big, too strong, throws too many punches, even Bruce.
I don't know that Bruce can beat this guy.
I don't know that anybody can.
can at this weight.
Unifications have remained elusive at 126 because these guys are waiting for a big money Inoue fight. So to get them to unify with each other, it's gonna take big money, and you would have thought that by now, Turkey LL Sheik would have invested in at least one unification match at 126 because he's already used former champion Nick Ball a good number of times on his shows.
Riyadh season ones.
2 or 3 for overpaying fighters like Devin Haney for dull performances and Conor Benn for lackluster ones. You could have invested in the featherweight division at a fraction of the cost, since featherweights generally don't make that much, so overpaying them would be a drop in the bucket.
And perhaps enough to get them to finally fight each other.
I don't know that there's ever been an undisputed champion in the featherweight division, but at minimum I know there wasn't one in the 4-belt era. There's not been a featherweight who held all 4 sanctioning body belts, the Ring Magazine, and the Lineal, so it would be a momentous occasion if it could all come together.
Without Turkey, it would be down to Top Rank to get Bruce these unification matches, and Top Rank blows hot and cold when it comes to unification matches. Some they do, some they don't.
It's not like it is with Matchroom, where unifying is a clear destination for their champions. With Top Rank, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Now, what might be the game changer is that they're with DAZN now, and DAZN is actively looking for fights to spruce up their ultimate tier. Fights they can bill as pay-per-views.
For many years, Top Rank shied away from doing too many box office fights, and I believe that they had the right idea in doing so, but because the platform they're on now is actively looking for those kinds of fights, they might do one. They might do it for Bruce.
If you can do Moses Itelma versus Dillian White as a pay-per-view, Fabio Wortley versus Daniel Dubois.
They build the both of those fights as pay-per-views to Americans, and if you could do that, Bruce Carrington versus Angelo Leo or Brendan Figueroa would not be that far off.
Not when you consider that Golden Boy Promotions build Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios as a pay-per-view. The bar of standard for what passes as a box office fight is relatively low at this point, to where maybe that's what they resort to get Bruce Carrington, another champion, in the ring.
That's the ray of hope. That's the light at the end of the tunnel for Bruce Carrington beyond the Palacios fight early next month.
The clock is a-ticking because Bruce is not exactly all that young a guy. He's in his late 20s. How much longer will he be able to keep making 126? Or will his campaign at featherweight come and go without a unification match, because he can't keep making it forever?
In men's heavyweight news, Tyson Fury says, Turkey LL Sheik is my promoter after UFC White House cameo. The 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, a veteran of 4 Riyadh season appearances, took to Instagram to reveal the news when he uploaded a picture of the pair with the caption, Turkey, the promoter of the Gypsy King, until I retire. Fury, 35-2 with 1 draw and 24 knockouts, is currently in America on a trip which included an appearance at UFC Freedom 250 at the White House on Sunday, during which he wore a hat stating Donald Trump for Prime Minister. The 37-year-old, nicknamed the Gypsy King, is reportedly close to announcing a fight this summer, with the long-awaited Anthony Joshua showdown already agreed for the 4th quarter of this year. During the broadcast of the UFC show, Fury was asked whether an announcement was imminent. He said, I think I'm gonna let Dana White do the speaking. I'll let him do the speaking, but it's a massive announcement. Dana White, UFC president and CEO, co-founded Zuffa Boxing in 2025 alongside LL Sheik to create a new boxing league. Ring cruiserweight champion Jai Opataya and British welterweight Conor Benn are among their high-profile signings to date. Now, the 37-year-old has confirmed that he will take his next steps alongside LL Sheik, the chairman of the Saudi Arabian General Entertainment Fund. Fury has been promoted by Frank Warren for many years, and it is unclear what this latest development means for their working relationship.
What do you mean it's unclear what it means? It means that it's fucking over.
This is nothing new from Tyson Fury. He's only doing to Frank Warren what he already did to Mick Hennessy.
Tyson Fury got his start with veteran British promoter Mick Hennessy. Then he retired, and when he came back, he didn't come back with Mick. He instead decided to go with Frank, and he's been with Frank ever since. Now, he's doing to Frank what he did to Mick. He's moving on.
Staying with Turkey.
Fury's last outing took place this past April when he ended his most recent retirement from the ring by outpointing Arslanbek Makhmudov on the Ring magazine card at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Why would he leave Frank Warren, who's done so much for him, to stay with Turki Al Sheikh? Turkey's got more money.
It's not hard to understand, though if he's saying that Turki Al Sheikh will be his promoter until the moment that he retires, what is Dana White's role in all of this?
Fury there, and you alluded to your involvement in the biggest fight potentially in British boxing history. Does Tyson Fury's presence here confirm the fact that you've signed him?
We'll make an announcement soon.
So that's a yes, maybe?
What's that?
That's a yes, maybe?
Listen, let me reiterate. Judge me January 1st of 2027 on what we've done this year with boxing. I keep talking about, all these other guys are talking a lot of smack. I haven't said anything about any of these guys. I haven't talked shit about anybody or any other stuff. I'm in my lane. I'm doing my thing. Just sit back and watch. We'll make an announcement soon.
Now, Tyson Fury just said that his promoter up until the moment he retires is Turkey, which is not exactly the same thing as signing to Dana White and Zuffa Boxing. So how does it break down, and what is it that Dana White is smirking about? I think what it is Tyson Fury's tune-up fight. I think that tune-up fight will be promoted by Zuffa.
Maybe it happens on Netflix like Tyson Fury's last fight, or maybe it happens on Paramount. But at the helm of the promotion, I do think it's going to be Dana White.
That doesn't necessarily speak to who's going to promote Fury versus Joshua, which is a separate matter, since there's no way you do anything with Anthony Joshua that doesn't involve Matchroom or DAZN to some degree, as he is one of their flagship fighters.
And he has a lifetime promotional deal with Matchroom. So as stated, to do anything with him, you have to involve them. But as far as Fury's next fight...
Yeah, I think that's going to be promoted by Dana, and I think, though I'm not sure, it might happen in the United States. Otherwise, why have Fury come here for UFC freedom?
Fury, among several other fighters affiliated with Daniel Kinahan, were barred from entering the country well over a year ago. So it's been a long time since the Gypsy King set foot on American soil. That ban seems to have been lifted.
And I think the reason it was lifted was so that Fury could fight here again, presumably in Las Vegas, somewhere like that, under the Zuffa banner, for Dana White. So that's what everybody's so cloak and dagger about and what Dana's smirking about.
But because the priority is still fighting Anthony Joshua, you can't expect that he's going to fight anybody too difficult or dangerous, somebody who might jeopardize the AJ fight, when the AJ fight is the money. That's the big one.
So for all the shits and giggles, what we're really talking about here is another tune-up fight for Tyson Fury, another stay-busy fight.
He won't be boxing on DAZN moving forward, it seems.
We've seen the last of Tyson Fury under the Queensberry Promotions banner. I don't imagine that Frank is happy about that. I think we've seen the last of Tyson Fury boxing on DAZN.
I think he's done there, and I think when the time comes, if they make it to the AJ versus Fury fight, well, that's going to be on Netflix.
That's how I think it all breaks down.